My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I'm 29 years old. 3 days before the most important job interview of my life, a position at Google that I had spent 2 years positioning myself for, my own parents sat down with my hiring manager and told him I was mentally unstable. They called me a fraud. They whispered that I had abandoned my responsibilities. They said I wasn't trustworthy. But what they didn't expect was who would walk through the door at my promotion party 6 months later, and what documents I had in my hands. This is a story about betrayal from the people who created you, about lies designed to destroy your future, and about one woman who finally learned that sometimes the cruelest people wear a familiar face. Let me take you back. I grew up in a traditional household where my parents made every major decision. College, they chose it. Career path, they decided. My father was a physician, my mother a lawyer. Both highly successful. Both absolutely convinced that their way was the only way. When I was 22, I broke their mold. I dropped out of my law school path and taught myself programming. No degree. Just raw talent, YouTube tutorials, and pure determination. My parents didn't speak to me for 8 months. But I didn't care anymore. I was building something real. By 28, I had worked my way into a mid-level position at a tech startup. Good salary. Better title, but I wanted more. I wanted to prove that the path I chose, the path they rejected, was legitimate. Google came calling. A senior product manager position. The salary would be triple what I made. The team was world-class. This wasn't just a job. This was vindication. I spent 6 weeks preparing. Every night I practiced interviews. Every morning I visualized success. My boyfriend David watched me transform into an obsessed version of myself, but he understood. He knew what this meant. "You're going to crush this," he said the night before. I was ready. I had never been more ready for anything in my life. The interview was scheduled for a Thursday. Tuesday night, I got a call from the hiring manager, Richard. His voice sounded different. "Sarah," he said slowly, "I need to ask you something before we move forward. Your parents called our office today." I remember the blood draining from my face. "They were very concerned," he continued. "They said you have a history of mental health issues. That you've been institutionalized. That you abandoned someone who was dependent on you. They said your last job fired you, not that you quit. Is any of this true?" I couldn't breathe. "Richard, none of that is true. I have no idea why they would." They sounded very credible, Sarah. Very concerned parents. They even provided documentation. Documentation? What documentation? My parents had nothing because nothing happened. But here's the thing about lies. Lies don't need to be true. They just need to land at the right moment with the right authority. "I think we need to pause your interview process," Richard said. "We need to do a background check and verify some of these claims." The call ended. I sat in complete silence. I called my mother. She picked up on the first ring, too quickly, like she was waiting. "Why would you do this?" I asked, my voice cracking. "Sarah, we did this for your own good. That job would have been too stressful. You need to focus on your mental health. We were protecting you." I hung up. I didn't speak to them for 3 months. The background check cleared me. It had to. because I had nothing to hide. But the damage was done. Richard apologized profusely. "Your parents seemed so credible," he said. "And honestly, after that conversation, the team started doubting you." It was hard to unhear their words. They offered me a different position. Junior product manager, half the salary, half the responsibility. I took it because I had to prove I was capable. I had to prove my parents wrong, but every day I walked past the office where I should have been working, and I felt the sting of that sabotage. For 6 months, I threw myself into the work. Perfect performance reviews. Led a team of 5. Delivered results that exceeded expectations. And slowly, my team started to trust me. Richard started to trust me. The doubt my parents planted began to fade. But I never forgot. And I never forgave. 6 months in, I got promoted to the position I originally interviewed for. Senior product manager, same salary. Same team, same respect. I invited my whole team to a celebration dinner. Colleagues, direct reports. Richard, my hearing manager. And yes, I invited my parents. I didn't tell Richard about the invitation. I didn't warn him. I just wanted him to meet my family. I wanted him to see the people who tried to destroy me. My mother called me the day before. "We're so proud of you, honey," she said. "We always knew you'd succeed." The hypocrisy made my stomach turn. "We can't wait to celebrate with your team," my father added in the background. I said nothing. I just smiled on the phone and waited. The restaurant was upscale, sophisticated. My team was dressed impeccably. Richard was there, glass of wine in hand, talking to my colleague Marcus about quarterly metrics. My parents arrived at 7 p.m. When my mother walked in, Richard's face changed. He turned pale. "Sarah," he whispered as I approached. "Your parents, they're the ones who called me. I recognize them now. I've been thinking about this moment for 6 months. And I need to tell you something." He turned to address the whole table. "Sarah's parents tried to sabotage her future," Richard announced quietly but clearly. "They called our office with false claims. Claims that were designed to undermine her credibility. But Sarah has proven, beyond any doubt, that she is the most talented person I've worked with." My mother's face turned white. "I promoted Sarah today to a position I originally wanted to offer her 6 months ago." Richard continued, "And I wanted to publicly acknowledge that while her parents tried to hold her back, she soared anyway." He raised his glass. "To Sarah, to resilience. To people who succeed despite the people who claim to love them most." The table erupted in applause. My colleagues cheered. My father stood up and walked out. My mother followed, eyes streaming with tears. But I didn't feel victorious. I felt sad. Because the people who gave me life had tried to take away my future. And they had failed not because I punished them, but because I simply refused to be broken by their lies. People always ask me if I've forgiven my parents. The answer is no. But I've moved forward without them. What I learned is this: sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones who wound you deepest. sometimes family isn't about blood. It's about the people who believe in you when you can't believe in yourself. My team became my family. Richard became a mentor I could trust. David stayed by my side through every moment of doubt. And my parents, they learned that you can't sabotage someone's truth. You can only delay it. If you've ever had your character assassinated by people who claim to love you, if you've ever been called a liar when you were telling the truth, if you've ever watched someone try to burn your future down, I want you to know something. Your truth will find you. Your strength will carry you. And the people who try to keep you small will eventually have to watch you shine. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe. And remember, your family doesn't get to decide your destiny. You do.